Hello, everybody. Today I am starting looking at 2021 and specifically about Saturn, because Saturn is the most dominating planet of 2021. And Saturn is in Capricorn in its own sign. And he can be a really positive force for us if we understand its power and learn to work with it. So, what to expect? Hello, this is Komilla Sutton, and we are studying Saturn in 2021. And do remember to subscribe, press the bell notification. Lots of new stuff coming about 2021 and what to expect, so you don't want to miss out. And what about Saturn in 2021 and why it is the most dominating planet for us. Saturn is in Capricorn in its own sign, and therefore he is in full dignity. He is creating Mahapurusha Yoga for Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn ascendant, Sasha Mahapurusha Yoga. He represents what the public's voice is. So, and he represents karma, hard work, responsibility. You know what happens whenever we talk about Saturn, we get afraid of Saturn. But there is no reason to be afraid of Saturn, because Saturn is a very important and good planet, even though malefic by nature. Malefic planets are naturally difficult energies that we have to deal with. But if we learn how to use it, so if you think about a car, and if you don't know how to drive the car, you can cause accidents and you can cause a lot of mayhem. Whereas if you are a good driver and a careful driver, then there's no problem with it. The same thing if you take an analogy of a machinery. If we know how to use it, we are good. So in case of Saturn, Shani, his result is slow and steady. His main job, which was given to him by Lord Shiva, was to be the ambassador of the gods, to tell the humans to pay off their karma. So he's the lord of the karma, and therefore he is there to tell us, why wait for another day? Pay our debts now, pay our old karmic debts now, through taking responsibility, doing the right thing. And therefore, as we move into the year, we are lighter and feel less burdened by situations. So the thing is this, that Saturn is going to be all year in Capricorn, in its own sign, in full dignity. There are no major conjunctions with Saturn, although in February, all the planets will gather in Capricorn and pay homage to Saturn. 9th to 12th of February, all planets except Rahu, Ketu, and Mars will be in Capricorn, and each one will conjoin with Saturn. I'll talk more about it in February news, but each one will conjoin with Saturn, Sun will conjoin with Saturn, and then they will move away. Jupiter remains partly in the sign of Capricorn up to 4th of April, then he goes into Aquarius. So up to 4th of April, Jupiter, Saturn are together. But the big Jupiter exact conjunction with Saturn has already happened in 2020. So there is no conjunction except the togetherness is there till 4th of April. And then Jupiter goes into Aquarius, which is also ruled by Saturn. And he will then go back, retrograde back to Capricorn in September, ruled by Saturn, go back in November to Aquarius, ruled by Saturn. So Jupiter is under major influence of Saturn. So these are the two big planets that we study. So both Jupiter and Saturn are in Saturn signs throughout the year. So therefore, Lord Saturn, he's controlling everything. And so we have to think a little bit spiritually. So the first two principles of Raja Yoga are Yam and Niyam, do's and don'ts of life. So what we can create some rules for ourselves, and they are usually connected with speaking the truth, doing the right thing, following the dharmic path, and discipline yourself, organize yourself, so that niyam, so that you are doing things. So anybody, however Saturn is placed in your chart, can use this solid quality of Saturn to bring discipline into their life, to organize themselves, to think about what is wrong in their life, what is right, to talk about ethical behavior, so that they are not being penalized by Saturn. So restrain, I would say, is the big mantra for the year. Restrain, organize, be humble, treat everybody equally. Don't go into ego and think I'm more superior than the other person. So, you can think a little bit more about what rules you want to follow and what you want to do. But Saturn being in its own sign and not being in a confrontational mode, it's doing its usual stuff. It will, and therefore it gives us a great power to use this energy and to deal with what Saturn is telling us. And by doing that, we are also cleansing our karma. We are letting go of our old karma. We are dealing with these old issues. And I would say that is the most important thing. Now, Saturn will retrograde. He retrogrades every year for about 4+ months. And so we have to be conscious of the retrograde of Saturn. And so Saturn will retrograde on 23rd of May at 19 degrees of Capricorn. Saturn begins the year at 7 degrees of Capricorn, and he will go up to 19 degrees of Capricorn to 23rd of May, when he will retrograde. Saturn retrogrades every year. And he will be retrograde for over 4 months. And then on 10th of October, Saturn will go direct at 12 degrees of Capricorn. And then he will go up to 17 degrees of Capricorn. He doesn't go up to 19 degrees. Up to 19 degrees is May. So he doesn't complete the full journey. So if you have planets placed there, most important planet is the moon. So if you have moon placed between 7 degrees to 19 degrees of Capricorn, you can expect that this is going to be an intense Saturn experience. It may be tough, it may be challenging, but you do need to be conscious. You need to take some remedial measures, care, and know that this is a stressful year, and therefore all what you want to achieve may not be possible. You need to be extra restrained during 2021 to make your choices. Then if you have other planets placed there, your ascendant as well. So if your ascendant is within these degrees, then there is pressure for you, because Saturn is going to cross over these degrees between 7 to 19 degrees. Those are the main degrees that we are watching of Capricorn. And other planets too, Sun, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, Rahu, Ketu. So whatever planet Saturn crosses. Now there's a big difference between the transit of Saturn over the moon to transit of Saturn over the other planets. So what it is that Saturn's transit over the moon, so those of you are in Capricorn moon, then this is a big one for you. But if your moon is between 7 and 19 degrees, it is even more intense transit for you. So the whole year is a year to take care and be cautious. For other people, the transits are more exact. So if it's crossing over your ascendant, the exact degree, 15 days before, 15 days after. I can't actually know what degrees your planets are. So this is something you should know. And remember, the degrees are in Vedic astrology. Similarly, with the sun and other planets, that means that you need to be aware of the transit and how at that particular time as the transit takes place, what houses those planets rule, what is their signification, and Saturn will be bringing some challenge for you. And then we also need to be aware of the two stationary degrees of Saturn. So Saturn will go up to 19 degrees of Capricorn and in May 23rd. So that is a very intense energy. When a planet stations, and especially Saturn stations, it means from April right up to June, Saturn will be stopped at that degree. So, we have three things to see. One is that if you have planets in Capricorn or moon in Capricorn, there's a range of degrees. But then if you have moon at specific degree from 7 to 19, then it is more intense. And the most intense would be if you have moon or any other planet at 19 degrees of Capricorn. This is where Saturn is going to station, and April, May, and June. So moon, of course, the mind will feel very restless. You are at the intense part of Sarasati, and it is not the easiest energy for you. Other planets also, according to their signification, they can feel the pressure of Saturn. Then Saturn retrogrades back and he goes to 12 degrees of Capricorn. And at 12 degrees of Capricorn, again, it will station to go direct. So 10th of October, Saturn will be at 12 degrees ready to go direct. And September, October, November, Saturn will be almost stationary, slow around 12 degrees. So again, the same planets. Moon, if you have at 12 degrees, that is the most intense experience. But other planets as well, ascendant, Sun, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, all the planets, if they are there at that exact degree, that means you are having the most intense transit of it. So that is the key factor. Then throughout the year, Saturn is going to be in two nakshatras. Almost in January, Saturn will move into Shravana nakshatra. I'll make separate video for Saturn in Shravana. And Shravana is the nakshatra for listening to other people. It is listening to the sound of silence. It is to study spiritual texts. So in that nakshatra, it is telling you what you should do. You should listen to what other people are saying, not just think of your own self, your own ideas. And you should also study and gain knowledge and develop yourself. And this is not just any basic knowledge, but higher knowledge. But I would say anything which is improving yourself, gaining knowledge for you would be good this year. Doesn't move out of Shravana. So we have the beginning Uttara Ashada and then Shravana Nakshatra. And then I think that the most important thing to recognize for 2021 is that each one of us react differently to Saturn. Some of us have a stronger Saturn, easier Saturn in our chart. Some of us have a more complex Saturn. But if we understand that Saturn is there to improve our lives, if we take his lessons on board, and the main lesson that you can take on board is to do something good for other people, to be realistic about your life, to do something that can make somebody else's life better, to follow the rules. Sometimes, the rules and regulations are very irritating. And just like if we take on debt from the bank, we don't want to pay it back. We want to take the money and spend it, but we don't want to pay it back. So it would be good that you think, okay, I'm going to do some special work for other people, and I'll pay back my karma. Karma is paid back not to the person who you borrowed from. That is the difference of the spiritual karma, because there may be some karma done in past lives. You don't even know who you owe to. So therefore, if you do something good for the others, the universe will do good for you. And feeding the poor, giving donation to the poor and needy, medical donations, donation for any good cause that you think. Usually Saturn rewards if you are doing donation to the elderly, to the poor, to the disaffected, and that would be a good thing to do. If you don't have money, you can make effort. You can even talk to somebody on the phone, deal with those situations. And if those of you who are having a very strong, challenging Saturn transit, don't think of it negatively. Think Saturn is there. He's giving me some message. Let me not struggle against it. Let me put my head down and do my duty, do what is expected of me, do the right thing, be patient, take time to organize everything, and then think about, disciplining yourself, organizing yourself, what you can do the best within your given circumstances. All of us have different circumstances. So organizing within that is important. And remember that Saturn in Capricorn comes after 30 years. So this is a real gift to us that Saturn is in Capricorn. And then not only he's in Capricorn this year, he will be next year, 2022. Then he goes into Aquarius. And so for the next 5 years or so, maybe a little less than 5 years, Saturn is very dominating. So lessons learned now will help us later as well. See, in 2020, Saturn had a number of difficult conjunctions with Mars, with Saturn. This year, there is no major conjunction for Saturn. So it is taking his lesson on board and remembering that Saturn's name is Shani. Shani means slowly. You cannot cut corners. He's going to deliver his results slowly. So however impatient you are, he's going to still take his time to give his results. So be prepared for that. Pack your patience with you. And you can do other spiritual things. The Devata, deity for Lord Saturn is Lord Shiva. So you can do the simple mantra for Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Or a simple mantra for Shani. Actually, we say Jai Shani. So hail to Shani, or you can say Om Shaniye Namaha. Om Shaniye Namaha. Om Shaniye Namaha.